Hi everyone, we're back today with another book review, and we're going to be talking about Once a Villain by Vanessa Len. So, this is the last book in the Vanessa Len series that we've been discussing on the channel. So, let's get right into it. So, after Joan's failed attempt to save the world, Eleanor now rules over a cruel new timeline where monsters live openly among humans, preying on them and subjugating them. Nick, once a hero to humans and Joan's first love, is tormented by the choice he made to save her over the timeline itself, and Aaron, the ruthless heir to a powerful monster family, now finds himself in a world where monsters having power beyond imagining while his feelings for Joan grow. Wrenched between love and rivalry, the three of them must negotiate their fractured pasts to survive the new world and restore what was lost because only they remember that there was once a better timeline. But how will they defeat a whole world of monsters with control over time itself? So the book picks up where we left off after the second book, with Eleanor succeeding and making the timeline she wanted, where the graves are back. The graves were Eleanor and Joan's family in the original timeline, the real timeline, but they were killed because Joan was negotiating peace with humans with Nick and Aaron. That's still an important plot point in this book because it was the reason that everything happened. Eleanor was told what they were doing in the original timeline and she wasn't happy about it, which is why she made this whole plan to create the timeline she wanted where her family would be back and safe and she would be the eternal queen in general. So there's a lot of regret from Nick about what he did, about choosing to save Joan over preserving the timeline that they had. But eventually he does get over that and he realizes that he would save her regardless and he would do it again and again and again. And then, of course, there's Aaron on the other side who is starting to realize he has feelings for Joan, but he knows Joan has feelings for Nick and the whole situation is quite complicated. At one point, Nick dies, so Joan ends up being with Aaron. I'm going to say being with Aaron, try to keep it a little PG here. Um, and she tells him that she loves him, and he says he loves her. But then there's the conflict of when Nick is revealed not to be dead, that she realizes that maybe Aaron and Joan don't really have a chance because Nick will always be Joan's first choice, and that causes a bit of hurt on Aaron's side, but he handles it quite well. He never gets angry. He never guilts Joan. He never start. He's a little he's a little iffy with Nick. He can't help that. That's who he is. But he never abandons them. He never stops working with them because they all want the same thing. They want the timeline restored. They want a better world in place. Eleanor is Joan's sister, but Joan can't really remember this. But Eleanor remembers, and I think she still has kind of some feelings for Joan in regards to what's happening, despite the fact that the enemies on different sides, and the fact that Eleanor pretty much ruined Joan's life and Nick's life and Aaron's life. She had a hand in ruining all of their lives. But I don't really think of Eleanor as a villain. I think that she's incredibly hurt. I think she's still, all this time, she's been mourning the loss of her family, and we have to remember that the king did this. The king is the one who made Eleanor still carry around a memoir of her family's insignia, which, when you think about it, is incredibly messed up. So I can't really blame her for wanting to kill the king. What I can blame her for is wanting to take control of the timeline, subjugating humans, putting them under monster authority, having this kind of dystopian dictator world where she was at the head and monsters had the power to do whatever they wanted. I don't see how that would be a good world for anybody. So I understand why Joan, Aaron, and Nick would have wanted to change that world. And I mean, I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler free as I can for anyone on this channel who may want to read the books, who art, reading the books. They are very good. Joan sometimes annoyed me a little bit throughout the series, but that was only because that was just her character. She was included on the monster world. She didn't know how it worked. She didn't know the rules, even though people told her over and over again. She had this ability not to listen to what people were trying to tell her, but that's just who she is. She develops, she learns, she's stubborn, and that's not a bad thing, especially when you're trying to make something better. So this is only going to be a little mini book review because I didn't prepare myself quite well for this. So will I read this? Will I read these books again? Yes. Will I recommend them to anyone who wants to read them, who is curious, and who likes books about time travel? There's no spice in the books, and they're just a very good read. So please, anyone who wants to read them, please check them out. Give them a try. I don't think there'll be any more books. This one seemed like it was the end of everything. And that's it for today. Our little mini book review is done, and I'll be leaving it here. Thank you and goodbye.